If you're a creative, a maker, or an artist that is on a creative journey that has shifted gears a whole bunch of times, and sometimes you feel pretty doubtful of whether or not you're on the right path, then this video is for you. Over the last 4 or 5 years, I have been on a crazy creative journey that has taken me in all sorts of different directions, different mediums, different content, murals, watercolor, acrylics, portraiture, landscapes, wildlife, and I finally, just in the past year, really finally feel like I have nailed down work that is specific to me and unique to me, stuff that is really my own, and I really want to share with you some of those lessons I have learned to help you know whether or not you are on the right path, and if not, make some necessary adjustments as needed. I just want to preface this video by saying that this video is specifically for people who want to turn their creativity into a business. So let's go. Number 1, clarity comes from action and not thought. This is a quote by my super beloved Marie Forleo. If you don't know her, she is a success in the entrepreneurial world and she is a super big inspiration to me. But this is a quote of hers that really resonates with me because a lot of time when we don't know what we're doing, it causes us to do nothing. And we think that if we think about something enough, we'll actually get to a good idea or get to the thing that we want to do in our head. But that is actually not how it worked for me at all, and I don't think it works for a lot of people like that. So clarity comes from action, not thought, meaning even if you don't know what you're doing or where you're going, just do something, anything. So if you don't know what craft you want to follow, for example, try it all. Try knitting, try sewing, try painting, try ceramics, and eventually you'll find something that you love to do. Number 2, do something different. I actually got my creative business started by painting murals in what was then a relatively small town, not so much anymore, but nobody else was painting murals, and so I was able to be the muralist and put myself out there as such, and I was able to gain quite a bit of momentum doing that. So do something different if, of course, that different something really resonates with you. If you're gonna just do something different to do something different and it actually doesn't resonate with you, then don't do it.
Tip number 3, accept that it is hard to be an inventor of something new.
One of the hardest things about a creative journey is that you want to create something completely new. That is the absolute beauty of being a creative, is that what you are going to bring into the world is completely new and nobody else has seen it, which is the most magical part about it. But at the same time, that is also why it's so freaking hard. So just recognize that maybe when you're struggling trying to figure out what you want to do, you might have a vision in your head, but because you don't have an example of it, that can make it really difficult to do. So just acknowledge that. And then also, you need to not allow yourself to get distracted by all of the existing noise that's out there. And when I say noise, I don't necessarily mean that all of the artists out there are noisy, but if you find yourself following somebody too much, you're gonna get distracted by what they're doing instead of really thinking about your own ideas and your own visions in your own head. Number 4, you have to be able to experiment and be willing to experiment. One of the things that I have found on my creative journey is that once I got my business going, I felt like experimentation was just kind of a waste of time and therefore a waste of money, because money is time. And it was only when I started experimenting and just taking sessions to just do something new and different that I actually started developing my own style. Number 5, follow those nagging voices. Sometimes we have nagging gut instincts and nagging voices in our head that are telling us that we want to go and try something, but for whatever reason we don't do it. And that can really be the barrier that we put up for ourselves to going and experimenting or exploring this thing that our intuition is telling us that we should do. Number 6, you have to be willing to do what fits with your lifestyle, or you have to be willing to make a whole bunch of adjustments to change your lifestyle to do the thing that you want to do. So this is super random, but quite a few years ago, I had this super random thought that I wanted to be an actress. Maybe for like a month, I was just like super gung-ho about it. And I did all the research on how to be an actress and what I could do in the area. And I was like, I need to move to Hollywood. I've never told anybody this. This is actually pretty embarrassing, but I had this feeling like I needed to move to LA or move to New York, which is so not me. And I wasn't willing to do any of that. So that obviously was not a path I was gonna pursue. Number 7, copy at first and then stop it. So what I mean by this is that you have probably heard the advice when you are first starting off something on a new endeavor and you don't really know, you don't have much of your own inspiration yet or your own style yet, some people just suggest to copy somebody else. And I think this is a really good idea because when you literally have nothing in your head, no inspiration or nothing, then you kind of don't know what to put on the paper or on the canvas or whatever. I do think it's a good idea to kind of copy what you see as a way to just get the ball rolling and get movement going and get some inspiration flowing. However, I will warn you that it is really, really easy to copy somebody for too long and lose the opportunity to create your own style. I fell prey to this in my own life, and for quite a few years there were a few influencers that I was following that I let influence me way too much. And because it was working so well for them, I thought if I could do that, then it would work for me too. And that is just so not true. So if you are really not sure of what you're doing in a certain medium, then copy somebody else and then stop though. You need to learn how to develop your own style and be your own person. What?
Tip number 8, don't compare yourself to others.
This kind of relates to what I said about turning off the noise and the distractions and just focusing on yourself. You can't compare yourself to others when you're trying to create something new because they have already created something and it exists and you are the creative that you are, and so you're trying to do something different. So you just can't compare yourself to others. Don't compare yourself to the success of others, and you have to follow your own journey.
And the last tip number 9, is to work through the ugly.
When you're a creative or a maker or an artist, what you see in your head that you want to make is sometimes further than the skill that you actually possess. And to get there, you just have to work and get better and improve and practice. And a lot of the times you create some really, really ugly things when you're doing that. And that is when a lot of people quit. Don't do that. No. If you really think that you're onto something and you're really enjoying what you're doing, then work through the ugly and just get better and practice, and know that with more time, sometimes even years, you will eventually get to where you want to be skill-wise, and you will be getting the reactions that you want from people and the response from the world that you want. Well, with that, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Over the last 4 or 5, this leads me to my 10. This leads me to discover. So this leads me to the lessons. You have to do something that. Number 6, that when you're first starting, a little bit skeptical, whatever, you get the point.